So I'd like to start with the story of Roy Klein. In the 2006 Lebanon War, he took part in the Battle of Bint Jbeil during a Hezbollah ambush. A hand grenade was thrown over the wall, and he jumped on the live grenade, muffled the explosion with his body, and he said Shema Yisrael. He was critically wounded and reported his own death. As he lay dying, he ordered soldiers to evacuate other people. So clearly he really sacrificed his own life. And that's going to be the backdrop of this whole talk. Question is, of course, Roy Klein was a hero. The question is, in general, does one have an obligation, a responsibility, or is it a midas chasidus, or is it actually not appropriate? Of course, I'm not criticizing it all. This is clearly a hero, but it's the backdrop of this conversation. So in terms of suicide by itself, without anybody else involved, meaning not risking your life to save somebody else, we know it says lo tirtzach, you're not allowed to kill, and the Psikta Rabati, which is the medieval one of the midrashim, it says lo tisratzach, lo taseh hadam tzorech alecha. Okay, and we go to number 4 over here. V'aches dimchem lenafshosechem edrash. And Rashi says, although I've permitted you to take the life of cattle, your blood will I surely require from him who sheds his blood. This is based on Baba Kama. You can see here, Ein Adam Rashai Lechabel Be'atzma, from the learning, Aches Dimchem Lenafshosechem Edrosh, Yad Nafshosechem Edrosh Et Dimchem. The Bereshis Rabbah on that says, Ach Es Dimchem, Ach Lahavi Es Achonik Atzmo. We know that Ach is usually a mute. In this case, it is a mute because, in a sense, otherwise you're allowed to take the life of cattle, but you're not allowed to take the life of yourself. The Chassam Sofer on the Torah says that this is a serious deal because Mishum ki kol achatayim mismarakim b'shas misa v'zeh chote b'misa. So ba'oso davar shayav l'chaparahu chote mari. The Mishnah Torah says the Horeges Atzmo ki kol echad me'elu shofech damimhu. Mishnah Torah elsewhere says ein lecha davar sheikbir Torah lav kishvichus damim. Shenemar lo tachnifu et haaretz ki adam hu yachnifu et haaretz. So it's a serious thing to take your own life. The Shulchan Aruch in Yoredeya says it has to be specifically a person who's me'abed atzmo ladas, is if the person goes up derech kas and then he falls down. If you just happen to see somebody hanging from a tree, you can't assume that they are committing suicide. I think that the most salient point for right now in terms of the halachic analysis is brought down by the Radvaz on his comment on the Mishnah Torah, where it says that if you're lo malkin es adam hodas piv ela al pi shnei edim, he says, why is it that you can't be culpable for saying that I did something and then get malchus? Like, in other words, you can't be culpable if you admit to murdering somebody, or if you admit to doing something that you would get malchus for. If there were not 2 witnesses, you would imagine that person should be guilty, because lefi she'ein nafsho shel adam kinyano ela kinyan HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So in other words, your life is really not yours. It is borrowed from Hashem. And that's the key concept that we're going to see over and over again. She'ein nafsho shel adam kinyano ela kinyan HaKadosh Baruch Hu, said by the Radvaz when talking about a person hodas piv, that you can't self-implicate